Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast with David Baker. David was a former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and for over 30 years has been a preacher. He has written 5 books and is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He is the chaplain at the county jail, pastors a church, and is the father of 11 children. Yes, 11. This podcast is here to give you wisdom for your family, your marriage, your children, your finances, your health, and your life. And now, the host of Wisdom of Life podcast, David Baker.
Hello and welcome, David Baker with the Wisdom for Life podcast, and I have my wonderful, beautiful, amazing, incredible wife, Laura, with me today. Was that enough?
That's awesome.
Okay, I think there were 3 or 4 more things she had written down, but I just don't want to say them all. But
right.
Anyway, hey, we're glad that you're here, and hey, did you know it is 2022, a brand new year? So, how's your year going? How did your year end, and how's your year going?
Oh, wonderful. Because had family, here, and we just had a great time together with the boys back from college. We had a wonderful time together. So
we partied. By the way, we found out you got to be careful with how you say we partied. But we had 3 different church Christmas parties at our house, 3 different groups. Then we had 3 or 4 different family Christmas parties at our house in New Year's with things going on. The other day, our daughter was talking to somebody on the phone, and she talks to them for business, and she said, "So, are you ready to?" It was like New Year's Eve, and so, "Are you ready to party and enjoy the New Year's?" And she goes, the woman said, "I thought you were a Christian. I can't believe you're going to party." She goes, "I don't drink." Like, well, so you're just going to go out with all the clubs and party, even with the other ones? She's like, "No, I mean party. We're having some family over and we're eating and playing games." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So our definition of party is a different definition than what a lot of other people do. But yes, we are partied out, and so getting back to some peace and calm and some regular schedule, whatever that is for us. So,
right.
Hey, what do we have today that's awesome our kids enjoy?
Well, we're having family over again. It's just, but we have snow.
We have
lots of snow.
We have snow in Tennessee. That's a big deal. We don't get a lot of snow here. So when it snows, you got to get out quick or it will be gone. So took the kids out sledding for a little bit. And then my older son took some of the kids out to another place. So we got to do a little sledding today, and that was fun and nice. But listen, my wife grew up in Ohio. There's a lot of snow in Ohio. Then we went to college up by Chicago. There's a lot of snow up by Chicago. And so my wife is used to driving in snow, except she's a Southern girl now, and she doesn't like to drive in it. Can you believe that?
I know.
How wimpy is that?
But the thing is, you have to watch out for the other cars. You never know how they're going to do.
That's the problem. Okay,
That's right.
It's all those Southern drivers who don't know how to drive in it. So
That's right.
To me, when it snows, I've got to look for some reason to get out. I've got to get out in it. But got some vehicles that do very well in snow, so it is fun. But all right, so we have, let's see, a joke for you, marriage-wise. Here we go. So, husband and wife go to a counselor after 15 years of marriage. The counselor asks them what the problem is. The wife goes into a tirade listing every problem they've ever had in the 15 years they've been married. She goes on and on and on. Finally, the counselor gets up, goes around the desk, embraces the woman, and kisses her passionately. The woman shuts up and sits quietly in a daze. The counselor turns to the husband and says, "That is what your wife needs at least 3 times a week. Can you do that?" Husband thinks for a moment and replies, "Well, I can bring her here on Monday and Wednesday, but Friday I play golf."
Oh, my. That's awful.
That is awful. That's what you call a husband who does not have a clue, okay? He doesn't have a clue what she needs, what he's supposed to do, a clueless husband. So, bad joke, and don't be that way. But it is sort of funny. So, hey, date night. Hey, let's go play in the snow. What?
Okay.
I don't think she's for that, but hey, you can have fun playing in the snow. My kids and I do. I asked my wife if she wanted to come, and she was busy. She had other things to do. So, all right.
I had a lot of years of playing in the snow and coming back in and being freezing cold and your toes and fingers thawing out, and I'm just kind of done with that. I'd rather be inside in the warm with a hot cup of coffee. That sounds like a wonderful snow day to me.
Oh, okay. All right, so moving on. Hey, here's what we've done so far. We talked about how we met, dated, and fell in love. These were the Friday podcasts. How to find the one, then how to stay pure until marriage, getting married, setting up the new place, children, how many and when to have them, then when and how to discipline them. Then last time we talked about the misunderstanding. If you missed that, make sure you go back and get it. There's so many marriage problems that come from misunderstandings. And so then we took a couple weeks off. This family marriage one is on Friday, and so that was Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we thought we'd give a couple breaks on that, but we are back. Have a very important lesson on love and respect. Love and respect. Two of the most important things in marriage to have. There were some people that did a survey of 1,000 men and asked them this question. If you could only be loved or respected, which would it be? If you could only, not both, if you could only be loved or respected, which would you choose? And 900 some men answered and said, not even a choice. Of course, I'd rather be respected. They asked that same question to women. 1,000 women, if you had a choice to only be loved or respected, which would it be? And almost the same thing, 900 plus people. The women said, are you kidding us? Not even a question. Of course, I'd rather feel loved. It's interesting. Men and women are different. Now, that doesn't mean that you disrespect a woman, and she's going to appreciate that. It doesn't mean you don't love the husband, that he's going to appreciate that. But on the scale of which one is the most important, it was exactly the opposite of which one it was. For men, disrespecting them is a gigantic thing. There are people that fight and have died because somebody dissed them, disrespected them. I was called to the hospital one time as they were going to unplug a family member as he was shot in the head. And he was shot in the head because somebody looked at him and thought he looked disrespectful at this guy and pulled a gun and shot him. That was it. He thought he looked at him disrespectfully. It's a big deal for men to feel respected. For women, it's gigantic for them to feel loved, So interesting when the Bible says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Ephesians 5:28, sought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loved himself. Over and over, God tells husbands to love their wives. Colossians 3:19, husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. So, honey, how many times does the Bible command a woman to love her husband?
I can't think of any.
Guess what? It's not in there, all right? One time the Bible says the older women are to teach the younger women of how to love their husbands, okay? How does a man understand love? Because a man understands love differently than the way a wife understands love. So the older women need to teach the younger women how to love their husbands because it's different. So many times a man thinks he just treats his wife the way he wants to be treated, and that's not true. She's different. Same thing. A woman thinks, okay, I need to treat him like I would want to be treated, and that's different. God made us different. And so 1 Peter 3:7 says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. God said that husbands are to dwell with wives according to knowledge. Have you seen the books that they really sell these and they make money from them? The title is called Everything That Men Know About Women. And guess what's written in the book?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay? It's blank. All the pages are blank, and they sell them for gag gifts and jokes. But God says we are to dwell with our wives according to what?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. So we are supposed to know women and understand women, and you can't, obviously, God wouldn't tell us to do something we can't do. And so how do you dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker mind? Is that right?
No.
What?
No.
As into the weaker character?
No.
No. Oh, as in the weaker what?
Vessel.
Oh, you can see her getting upset about that. It's the vessel. What does that mean? Okay, here we go. If you're on video. All right. Hopefully, if I arm wrestle my wife, I could win. Okay. Hopefully. All right. We're not going to embarrass me too badly. But a weaker vessel. All right. Hopefully you could beat your wife in arm wrestling. It does not mean a weaker mind. It does not mean a weaker person or weaker character, but a weaker vessel. God made men and women different. And all the trans sports now, when men are saying they're women and wrestling and winning or swimming or running or whatever, that's just wrong. God made the human body of a man and a woman different. But to dwell with them as honor to the weaker vessel, to respect them, to give them honor, to show how we love them is really a big deal. And so to love them and to know them what they need. We're supposed to do that as men. And ladies, they're supposed to show the respect. Interesting, where the Bible doesn't command women to love their husbands, it does command women to show respect to their husbands. Okay? Over and over, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. That shows respect. 1 Kings 1:31, Bathsheba bowed her face to the earth and did reverence to the king and said, let my Lord David live forever. Her husband, of course, was also the king. And so it's a big deal for the wives to give honor. Esther 1:20, and when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published through all the empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both great and small. This is all throughout the Bible, to give them honor. It is a big deal to be able to have that. And so 1 Peter 3:5, 1 Peter 3:4, let me start with that. Okay, verse 3. 1 Peter 3, verse 2, it starts, while they behold your chaste conversation, coupled with fear, whose adorning means what makes beautiful. Whose adorning, let it not be the outward adorning of the plaiting of the hair, or the wearing of gold, or the putting on of apparel. By the way, it does not mean a woman can't braid her hair or wear gold or put on clothes. Okay, that would be a good thing to do. What it means is the adorning. The thing that makes a woman beautiful is not the outside. It says, next verse, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit. You have a Christmas tree, you put an ornament on it. A wife puts jewelry and ornaments on herself and her hair and jewelry. The ornament, or the adorning, the thing that makes a woman beautiful, is a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God a great price. For after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in what?
Subjection.
Wow. Adorned themselves. What made them beautiful was being in subjection to their own husbands, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well, and are not afraid with any amazement. It's amazing how God said for the men over and over, the respect for them is such a big deal to be able to have that. And to summarize that in one verse, to be able to put all that together is amazing. In Ephesians chapter 5, let me read that for you. And in one verse, literally, it says all put together as it summarizes that. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she
reverence her husband.
Interesting. In one verse, it says, husbands, love your wife like yourself, and wives, see that she reverence her husband, to revere him, to honor him, to lift him up. And so I illustrated this before. I had my assistant pastor and his wife come up. And so I had her, I said, all right, what makes her beautiful? Okay. And then I had the woman look at her husband with a finger pointed and a face like that. You want to try it?
No.
What? Really? Come on. People want to see that.
No.
I don't see that look. But anyway, and say, how does that look? I can promise you the most beautiful woman in the world, when she has a grimace and a mean look on her face and her finger pointing at you, there's no woman that looks beautiful like that. But you can take that same woman, and as she yields her head on her husband and yields in a meek and quiet spirit, and that's her adorning and that reverence to her husband, guess what? That is beautiful. That is beautiful. You can take a woman that the world says is not the most beautiful, and you let her have that spirit and that attitude toward her husband, and I promise you, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to a man. So, love and respect is a big deal. Now, we're going to close with some of this. So, what makes a woman feel loved, and what makes a woman feel unloved? What makes a man feel respected, and what makes a man feel disrespected? Now, so honey, you're the woman, so you're going to have to answer this. And I know you wouldn't have any of these things personally that I've ever done. And why are you laughing already? That I've ever done in 32 years of marriage, almost 32 years, that I've ever done to make you feel in love. So you have to reach into what other women have told you of the way they feel unloved.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is not from personal. Are you laughing or are you going, yeah, right. But anyway, so what are some things that makes a woman feel unloved?
Well, making them feel like their opinion is not valued or that it's stupid. That would make them feel unloved.
I think that would do it. Yep. What else?
Well, making plans, like going out with other friends and everything apart from the family, or with the wife, that would make her feel unloved.
So a guy should never go golfing or go fishing
No,
with somebody.
they can do that, but
Oh,
if it were like a lot and it's with other people all the time and the wife isn't, any time spent with her,
right.
then of course then she's going
Exactly.
to start feeling unloved. Um, Praising other women and not the wife, that's a big deal. Like
Mm-hmm.
if a man is like always praising other women, then the wife's going to start feeling like, well, what about me? What does he think about me?
Absolutely.
So, for myself, I don't mind if my husband praises other women. That's okay, as long as he's praising me at the same time. So that's a big deal. And then another one probably is just making big decisions by himself and not including the wife. That's going to be a big deal too.
Yeah. God made them to be a couple and to be able to talk and communicate together. So, all right. So, what about some things that make men feel disrespected? Again, none of these were personal, but I do a lot of counseling, so that's where I've got these from. But if a woman won't forgive the past, and how many jokes have there been about the memory of a woman that can remember everything a guy did all the way back? And you feel like, wow, that's over, that's done, that's past. I thought you forgave me for whatever, and they still bring it up. That's definitely going to make a man feel disrespected. Questioning the husband's decisions over and over, not letting him lead or be a man, that's a big deal. Making a man feel like the woman is the mother, is his mother instead of a wife, putting him in that kind of situation with constantly nagging or being told what to do. I think a big deal from what I hear from men is that the wife is not taking care of the physical needs or not taking care of it with a willing attitude. If a wife says, okay, fine, let's go, that sort of takes something away from that love and sharing and intimacy that we want to have. So, all right, what are some things that men can do to help their wife feel loved? To feel loved. What can they do to make the wife feel loved?
Well, if she's having a bad day, he takes time to listen to her. That's a big deal to a wife,
Mm-hmm.
when he's listening. Um, Calling and telling her good things. If something wonderful happens when your husband calls and shares that with you, because he wants to share that with you and not with other people in particular, that's really good. Another thing is just, I know a lot of times you'll do this, you'll surprise me with something, candy or flowers or something like that, and that makes a woman feel loved. Um, and it can be sweet text through the day or anything like that. Um, and then, of course, complimenting your wife. Those kind of things makes a woman feel loved. Also, just, of course, things aren't going to be perfect, but at any time when you feel like that your husband is trying to take care of the financial needs of the family and everything, and he's doing whatever he can, you really feel loved because of that too.
Awesome. All right, so what makes men feel respected? Really, any praise. Anything that you praise a man for, it's amazing. God says, so is a man to his praise. You praise somebody for something, how hard they'll work to be able to have that. Being able to encourage and praise and to pump up, build up him to other people, things like that are really a big deal. So, okay, we're done. Here's your homework. You ready? Are you ready for this one? What we want you to do is to go to your wife, for the men that are listening, and say, honey, have your notepad out, ready to go. You're not going to have your feelings hurt. But say, honey, I want to know, what are some things I do to make you feel unloved? And what can I do to make you feel loved? Don't debate, don't argue, don't defend. Just say, okay, 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 okay. Thank you very much. And do them. And do them. All right? Women that are listening to this, do the same thing. Go to your husband and say, hey, I'm sure that there's sometimes I say or do things that make you feel disrespected. I would like to know what those are so I can avoid those. And be ready to write, okay? Be ready to write. No defense, no attitude, not mad. You're not going to hold him against it. Hold it against him. If he thinks he's going to get in trouble for this, he's going to say, nothing, no, nothing at all, okay? But you want to have that. When you can have that open relationship, because we're different. These questions literally came from a Sunday school class where I taught this, and I said, all right, what makes you feel loved? What makes you feel unloved? Women. What makes you feel disrespected? What makes you feel respected? And so I wrote all those things down. But your wife and your husband may be different. Something that makes her feel loved may not make somebody else feel loved. And so ask them, what can I do to make you feel loved? What do I do that makes you feel loved? What do I do that makes you feel unloved? And then the women ask on the disrespect. If you guys could do that, you would see your marriage go from wherever level it is, it's going to go up. Stronger, better, happier, more joy, more pleasure, to be able to understand that. Okay? So your homework, are you up for it? Can you do it? All right, my wife and I have, so take the time to do that. Work on that. Do that to make your marriage better. All right? So, hey, any closing words to love and respect?
I think just having a willing spirit, a willing attitude, to do those things and not take offense.
Absolutely. To not be offended. By the way, great peace of they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. When you love the Bible so much, nothing anybody else that they say or do is going to offend you. And so you want to keep that in mind and realize, hey, if you can make your wife feel more loved, guess what? You will be more respected. Don't have time to go into this a lot, but it's called a crazy cycle. And if the wife doesn't get the love she feels that she needs, then she will give what?
Well, she's not going to give the respect.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
her husband.
She's not going to give the respect. So he gets less respect, so now he shows less what?
Love.
Love. And now she doesn't get the love, so she shows
Less respect.
Guess what you have?
Yeah.
It's called a crazy cycle. And it spins out of control. That's what happens. Who can stop that? Either of you. Either of you. Wife can stop it. Husband can get off that merry-go-round and slow it down and stop it and get it going the other way. How do you do that? Women, by showing respect, show them respect, show them respect. You say, well, how can I respect him with what he does? Respect is a command, not something you do because they're worthy of it.
And you're respecting his position, just like you would respect a president.
Absolutely.
You may not like that president, but you'll respect him because you're respecting his position.
So before we leave, let me make you mad, okay? For women, could you imagine if the husband said, I'm not going to show you love because you are unlovable, and the things that you do are not where you are lovable to me, and so he says, I don't love you. What would that do to you if he did that?
Oh, that'd be awful.
Awful. How come? Because love is supposed to be
Unconditional.
unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
What about respect?
Then it should
Well,
be,
he's got to earn my respect. Show me that.
Yeah, it's not there.
I can show you in the Bible commands that a woman is supposed to reverence her husband, revere him, honor him, respect him highly because of his position. Okay? If love is unconditional, then respect is unconditional too, because he is your husband and you're to show him respect. You couldn't stand it if he said, oh, I'm not going to show you love because you're not lovable. Just like if you said to him, I'm not going to show you respect because what you're doing I can't respect. Same thing. Love and respect should be unconditional. Amen?
Yes, that's right.
Are you saying amen and nodding, or go, no, I don't agree with that? Okay.
Well, that's the way a man interprets love too. When
Absolutely.
you're saying, when a wife is saying, I'm not going to respect him, then what she's saying is, I'm not going to love him. That's how he interprets it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it, sister. You got it. All right. Hey, go do this. Find out what makes them loved and feel respected, and do it unconditionally. Even if they're not, you can stop that merry-go-round, slow it down, and get it going the other way all by yourself. If you're willing to love, even if she's not lovable, and to respect him, even if he's not being respectable, you can stop that and turn it around and be an awesome thing for you and your marriage and your family. All right?
Yeah.
Hey, God bless you. We'll see you next time, and Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to the Wisdom for Life podcast. If you have any questions for us, email us at askpastorbaker@gmail.com, and we will answer them in an upcoming podcast. The email is askpastorbaker@gmail.com.